Sometimes I don't know where I am. I lost my mind. I don't feel right. You wanna party with me, dance with me, drink till you can't feel face. Don't ask me how I live and die this pop boy shit. All this shit is made for me, boy, I stay on top of it. You thought I was a joke, that's why you ran from it. Now you out here running back. Girl, I ain't for none of that. We get high, we live life in high stakes. Now I'm about to break the bank, I need all the millions. I really went and got what I put in my name. Else they turn to less, is why I never cared about the fame. Sometimes I don't know where I am. I lost my mind. I don't feel right. You wanna party with me, dance with me, drink till you can't feel face. The party ends, but we can't too. I don't mean to change the mood, I'm switching different avenues. You said you want this, well I don't want that, you know that, and that's just my mistake. And you know it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, we gon' be alright. It's okay, we gon' be alright. Alright, 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 alright. Sometimes I don't know where I am. I lost my mind. I don't feel right. You wanna party with me, dance with me, drink till you can't feel face. Sometimes I don't know where I am. I lost my mind. I don't feel right. You wanna party with me, dance with me, drink till you can't feel face.
All right. So, boy, Cash Star, not my boy. I don't know him. I've interacted with him a little bit, but I don't think he knows who I am. But I'm supporting his music. I'm even in the comments talking about cold as fuck. Because it is cold as fuck. One, it's cool to see a brother in the synth wave lane that still has, or synth pop lane, not quite synth wave, which honestly this album that I'm putting out, this EP I'm putting out in a few months, or however long it takes, not going to be quite, maybe less than that, honestly, when I think about it, because the plan is to put it out on Spotify, but there to be a delay. So this maybe is out at, on Bandcamp. Well, I think Bandcamp still takes a month. So I'm shooting for July. I'm shooting for sometime in July. Maybe April if I really have to. Not April, August. Going wave. You know, there's some stuff about relationships. I meant not to talk about relationships, and most of the songs have something to do with a relationship failing. So that's not good. So not quite going wave. More like mopey wave. I don't know. But, you know, it's just cool to see that this space is already occupied. Granted, you know, we're doing multiple spaces because a few months after that, we're going to drop another project. I already got them named. Working on all the other stuff. It's too nice to Chile. Shout out to Chile. Working on all the other stuff you need to do, like videos. I just bought a green screen. We'll see how that goes. I got to be filming videos. I also got to be on camera more here. I want to do stuff here. I know it's super duper late. It may just be me and you, Richard. But there are some things I want to talk about. And if somebody shows up, they show up. If not, it's not. You know, I mean, we could even start semi here. It's just, I kind of want to talk about where creativity, where art, especially corporate art, and where everything is. I'm kind of thinking about games, but it's everything, man. We know it's movies. We know it's TV shows. There's just so many things wrong. Hey, we know the Diddy gatekeep. You can't be a star unless you give up the buttholes of gatekeep. And it's just like, man, we are at such a creative low as a species, it seems, or at least the West. Yeah, everything's ass, we know. But it's like, we got to change it. I got to change it for me. You know what I mean? I got at least, the plan is to make a video game as well. Plans to just constantly express myself creatively. And while income and money is something that you want, a lot of it's for the love of the game. You helped inspire that. Richard, you do the Owlman for the love of the game. And that's important part that's missing. I saw a short where Quentin Tarantino, ironically enough, is talking about a known pedophile. Well, was he a known pedophile? known sexual assault gatekeeper Harvey Weinstein, but he was talking about him relative to him being a producer. And there's a scene in Reservoir Dogs. Is it oh my god, my brain. Is it Michael Madsen's character? I think it's Michael Madsen. It's Michael Madsen. He tortures a guy to Stuck in the Middle of You. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. And he's slicing the guy up and shit. And Harvey wanted that scene out. He wanted that scene out, and in test screenings, people had walked out of that scene, and he's like, hey, the movie is still going to be great, whether you have that scene or not, in it or not. And even Quentin himself said, yeah, I mean, he was objectively correct, especially because of the test screenings and the different festivals they went to, and people just did not like that scene, but he said he wants to keep it in. He's not going to give up. Oh, man, I'm just seeing something about Charlotte City Council. I'll be going back to Charlotte in a week. Going back to Charlotte. Shout out to Charlotte. Fizz, you're another creative. Shout out to Fizz. Good luck. Richard's a creative, obviously. Yeah. Better than anything DC done since 2016. Maybe, yeah. I mean, sheesh, they falling off. But I'm going back to the Quentin Tarantino story. He kept that scene in. It's obviously a part of the movie. Anyone who's seen Reservoir Dogs, Michael Madsen killing that guy and torturing that guy to Stuck in the Middle with You, the song. And those creative decisions, yeah, it didn't really matter much, right? It didn't impact the movie, but it's just that it helped. That scene helps make Tarantino's movies. It helps express that character, that you don't know what, that weirdness, that wackiness that makes Tarantino movie a Tarantino movie. And as much has been talked about Weinstein, and rightfully so, a lot of it, he's as much of a scapegoat as a Diddy is, but as much that has been talked about him, as an executive, he would allow the creative to be the creative. They might have, I mean, it obviously, Reservoir Dogs was a hit, and then all the other movies that Quentin Tarantino, including Pulp Fiction, was a hit, and plus movies he wrote like True Romance, Dusk Till Dawn. He had such a great run in that era, but that was the one that started it. And you don't know who these are. You know who Quentin Tarantino is? You might not. He's a director. He directed a bunch of movies. He directed Django Unchained, Kill Bill, Pulp Fiction. I mentioned Reservoir Dogs, Jackie Brown, which that's probably before your time. He wrote From Dusk Till Dawn and True Romance. He's a writer director. Had his peak was in the 90s into the 2000s. Kill Bill was probably his biggest movie, and then obviously Django. And then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I didn't want to see, and then a movie you might like, or maybe you will hate, Inglourious Basterds. He directed that as well. I might have missed one, but that that's about most of his catalog. Hateful Eight too. I think that's the other one. Haven't seen Django. Okay, but he's a director. He can be controversial, a lot of violence, a lot of swearing, a lot of language. So yeah, there's that. But he has his own style, and he is considered also an auteur director, if there's such a thing, or a artistic director. A guy who he writes and directs his own films. And it's more that my point is, when given the chance between just being mindlessly corporate and letting the creative do what they want, even if it may not add commercial value, in that case, in that instance, they made the decision to go with the creative person and let them do what they wanted. And it worked out. And you got to think, in this corporate control world, how many other decisions like that don't go that way? And you can say, I don't like that scene, I don't whatever. That's not really what I'm talking about. I'm more talking about the idea that even when something may impact the commercial in a negative, going with what the creative wants and what the creative expression wants. Because I think even if we don't perceive these things overtly, we can tell when something is quote unquote authentic or authentic to itself. And I think the decision to constantly go with the corporate decision, well, I don't know about that scene. I don't know about this. Let's change it. Let's take it out. Let's do what we think is most palatable. That decision happening time and time and time and time again amongst, as these things are getting created, as these games, these movies, these TV shows, these albums, these whatever are getting created, where you have the people who pay all the bills saying, hey, nah, I don't know about this, or I don't know about that, and maybe do this way, and who instead give you a much more bland product, a much more sanitized product. That corporate sanitization, that's one of the huge things hurting a lot of stuff. Plus just bad decisions. I can't help but to think about Mortal Kombat 1. A game that's only been out, 2 years? Barely 2 years, and they're already done with it. They're not going to be updating it. And now there's talk about revamping Injustice. Most successful movies are never corpo. I mean, obviously you have the MCU, but even amongst the MCU, the better movies were the ones that had less corporate interference and at least related to the comics somewhat. And I appreciate you being here, Newbound Turkey. You said 5 months into release? I thought when did Mortal Kombat 1 release? Release date for Google 2023. So September 2023. So it didn't go 2 years. MCU is comic based. It doesn't count. Well, I mean, that's been the biggest movie franchise the past 20 years. And if you don't count that, then you can still go with the Fast and the Furious. That was a corpo franchise for sure. It used to be, though, but that was decades ago. That's true. That's why people reflect back to the 60s and 70s for overall great movies. I think Injustice is done. There's nothing story-wise to tell, but that's not going to be motivating them. I was giving it into the 90s. You know, I mentioned Tarantino. There was a lot of I mentioned From Dusk Till Dawn. There was a lot of good movies that came out in the 90s. A lot of underrated movies. Remember, like, I keep seeing Falling Down, which I need to rewatch. That was a good movie. But what was the shit? The Fan, where was it Robert De Niro, Wesley Snipes? You had Last Boy Scout. You just had movie. Long Kiss Goodnight. I mean, motherfuckers were just making good movies all the time. You know what I mean? And not every movie was a classic. Not every movie was, Independence Day or Speed or whatever, but there were still good movies that you just saw. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of hype about that Sinners movie, which I liked, and I would recommend you go see it. But, I mean, we used to get movies that good all the time, and now we just fucking don't. They always call Superman, Brainiac is defeated. They'll pull something out their ass, Richard, and I appreciate you being here, lovely Sherry, if I didn't say so already. Franchises did kill the movie scene. If it can't be beat to death in the sequels, they don't think it's worth it. You're right. And even that Sinners I just mentioned, they want to franchise that. There's different spinoffs they want to do from that. And I'm sure they will. Snow White might come to Injustice. Anything could happen, bro. Because they love those guest characters in that whole universe. That MK and Injustice, they love them guest characters. So they could bring Snow White to Injustice. Anything could happen. But you're right, franchises definitely kill things. Because not everything has to be a franchise. But I think we've gotten tired. I don't think... I mean, does anybody want to see another Fast and the Furious or Marvel movie? Does anybody want to see it? And I know a lot of people argued the superhero fatigue. You wouldn't have it if it was good. Whatever. I don't know. I remember when Snow White was party power. I think in some circles it still is. Snow White is party powder. I haven't watched one since they started becoming like superheroes. So I haven't watched one really in the 2010s. I didn't see when they had Jason Momoa. I didn't even see the last one with Paul Walker. That should have been probably the last one. I didn't see Cobbs and Shaw. I haven't seen a lot of them. I haven't seen like the most recent ones. And even, I basically haven't seen since Tokyo Drift. I feel like I saw one of the ones after that, and that's it. And I can't tell you which one. And I didn't remember it. You know what I mean? I don't really like these movies. I did the first first one is okay, but I think it's an overrated series. But these are the franchises that made money. If you go with what's made money since 2010, you got some of the tail end of maybe the whole of the Twilight and Hunger Games era. Then you obviously got Fast and the Furious, and it's the MCU, some DC movies, and that's pretty much it. As far as big budget oh, you also got a lot of those remakes of Disney movies. Those live action remakes were hitting for a little bit. I think they've dried those up as well. But that's pretty much it. I mean, there may be a few exceptions to what I just said, but maybe you put the Star Wars, they did make, especially those first two, and Rogue One did make a decent amount of money. But I mean, it's a handful of properties I just mentioned. And that was it for like 15 years. And they all were franchises. So I think the human is tired of that. That's why there's so much talk about TV shows and the streaming shows. But even with those, even if you love those, good luck waiting 4 years for a 6-episode season. If it gets funded, don't let you fall in love with a show, goes 2 or 3 seasons, and then they don't finish up the story in the 3rd or 4th. Because that happens too. They keep beating the dead horse. Exactly. Sherry. He was a gay villain. I didn't even know he was a gay villain. I didn't even watch it. Kai Cenat. Shit, I didn't even think about that at Edge Entertainment. Dead internet theory. They pick which streamers is popular. They keep pushing Kai Cenat and Amped and what's the guy? Sneeko and all these other motherfuckers. Aiden Ross. I've been streaming for 5 years. They ain't put I don't have. There ain't 1,000 people watching me now. I appreciate y'all watching, but you know what I mean. They definitely push certain streamers. They got their tentacles in everything, and they make everything bland and fake. Fizz. A lot of people didn't like Titans. I didn't watch it because it didn't look good, but I know you like Titans. Retro Richard, but you're like one of the few. Well, no, I see some people like Titans, but it seems to be pretty mixed. It kind of similar to the CW stuff, which was mixed. Flash and Arrow really fell off something hard to me. I didn't. The only series that I kind of wanted to watch that I didn't watch is that Superman series, Superman and Lois, because when I see little previews and clips from that on doom scrolling YouTube, it looks pretty interesting. That's pretty creepy, but that's true. I don't market towards 5 to 12-year-olds. It was always weird when somebody under 18 shows up. There was the one girl from Australia. I'm not sure if she still lurks. Tim Drake, Wonder Girl, and Jason become a Red Hood instead of Red X. I see. But you're right, because that's really scary. You know what I mean? That's who a lot of kids are getting their entertainment from is Kai Cenat or Queso or Sneeko or Aiden Ross or whoever the fuck. They appeal to kids. And that, and Miss Rachel, which I guess is nothing. I haven't heard nothing crazy about Miss Rachel. But that's for younger kids. Wonder Girl, they bought her weak as hell. I see. But you're not wrong. That's definitely, the corporate kid agenda. So you did not like Superman Lois, says Lovely Sherry. She said she watched 3 episodes and did not like the actors. Well, if you don't like the actors, there's nothing you can do. I can get that. It's like, how I feel about this upcoming Superman. I'm not sure if I like. I'm going to watch it as a DC fan. I have some hope that something positive may come out of it, but I'm not expecting much. Donna Troy should be the strongest tight end under the Raven. Let's see. But yeah, I didn't get into Titans. How many seasons did they give it? Like the first season, Superman Lois, didn't watch after that. Okay, I see. But yeah, that's the thing. Even if you do find something, it takes forever. Even though it seems like they got through Superman and Lois. 4 ? Not sure. Around 4. Let's see. But yeah, didn't get into that. But I mean, again, it's just we're in a weird place with content, man. We got to be the ones to create the new content, and then going back to that dead internet theory, the internet is against you. The internet does not want to promote and create new stars and new people that are popular. So really, you got to pay to play. It looks like I'm putting out these albums, these EPs, technically, over the next few months, and I'm gonna pay for some advertising among some of these sites. I'm not gonna pay a bunch because I ain't got a bunch. We'll see how that helps. I'm hoping it can at least get this something like YouTube over 1,000. That would be cool. And just get ears on my music. That's all I really want. But getting your stuff out there in this day and age, it's a fucking crapshoot. And a lot of it is you got to pay for play and then hope it works. You know what I mean? Because it's expensive to market, and people can still ignore stuff. It's just everything's a scam. Everything's such a scam. It's very hard to come out with that counter culture art or counter corporate art, I should say. Not only do I want to do music, like I said, I want to do games. I know everybody else got their interest. I know Fizz does animation. Richard's writing. He about to do the wrestling thing. There's other people in the chat who got other creative pursuits. I say keep doing them. Keep doing them. One thing I thought to do, I haven't done it yet. I got to put the finishing touches on the music, and then I'm going to start to do it. I'm going to see if, instead of running from AI, see if AI can help. I'm going to see how AI can help with marketing. What ideas and what, how can you help me market? Ask ChatGPT to help me market. I would suggest that, see how it goes. Also, apparently thanking ChatGPT helps. And I can believe that because, I think AI is already semi-sentient. Hell, we have our own sentient dildo who shows up, right? He just needed to age. Still follow Jason Todd as actor. And the Raven one, dude who played Jason's perfect, just needed to age. Oh, man. That's crazy. Well, maybe he'll get another shot. Sometimes they give the, obviously Ryan Reynolds played Deadpool twice, right? Or more than twice, but he had played him in that weird Wolverine origin, and then he ended up playing him full time in his real version. Only AI you want is Allen Iverson. Fair enough. I did like his costume because I remember seeing it, Nightwing's costume, and thinking it was pretty cool. I'm AI with the braids, by the way. Shout out to AI. Only place I think generative AI belongs is in games. Yeah, if it even belongs there, right? I think obviously there's going to be some uses. I'm just looking for ideas. I'm not necessarily going to use AI content itself. Even for music videos, I'm not sure. But I'll take ideas. I'll take help and advice. Because I don't have a marketing department. Tim Drake, I hope he never sees a role again. That's another thing. We talked about it a little bit, me and you. And honestly, I think a while back, I don't know if it was on this channel or on Matt's channel, when we're still doing Culture Crime Fighters. What was the actor? He was a brother. He was a black dude that was acting. Man, I can't think of his name. Is it Clifton? He was a cool dude. He came on our show, and I think he might have even mentioned it, but it's been mentioned in many places. In order to get an acting job, you need followers on YouTube or followers on social media in general. And it's like, well, being a social media personality is one skill set. Being a marketer is one skill set. Being an actor is a different skill set. And to say you're going to push people because they have followers on Instagram you're going to pick people who aren't good at acting but are good at marketing or are good at being a social media personality, and you're going to put them in movies. That seems stupid. You should hire the best actors, but we have a lazy, and that's what a lot of it is. We have the millennials millennials and Gen Xers should have never got control of shit. And I am a millennial. But I remember, I talked about making a game. Getting close to a decade as I go back to Charlotte. It's been about 3 or 4 years since I left, but I was still in the pandemic era. Pre-pandemic, I was still living in Charlotte, and I was going to different meetups and trying to get into tech. You came across these weird marketing people, And the way they talk about humans is like they talk about humans like we're dots, and they talk about it like we're AI, and how to program people and how to influence people. It's very dark, very, very dark. But they don't really give people any credit as people. And a lot of us, unfortunately, this is another thing I noticed. A lot of millennials, even in real life, they hire, like, especially these HR thoughts, they hire like their dating profile, where they want it all. That's why we got 5 years experience for entry level jobs. That's why if you are coding, you need to know 10 years of technologies that's only existed 2. Because you got these pie in the sky goofy hoes, pardon my French, that are gatekeeping a lot of regular jobs in the wild, let alone these creative jobs, where you got to know the right people, a lot of nepotism. You know what I mean? And it's just a lot of bullshit. You can't blame Z yet. They haven't had the chance to control. They might. I mean, I don't have that much hope for Z. Maybe a few of y'all. It was in Gen Z, but they just haven't got the control. Unfortunately, we're us and Generation X are the ones doing the most. I mean, obviously, still got boomers in Congress and whatnot. But if we're talking about hiring, managerial, there are people my age and older. You know what I mean? Those are the decision makers of a lot of these corporate places who don't understand what they do, don't understand their own jobs, and do things based upon social media clout, and do things based upon all these inorganic, inauthentic stuff, even in places where it doesn't belong. I brought the acting example, but again, if you were a programmer trying to get a job past 10, 15 years, I'm sure you've seen those crazy written job positions where it's like, no one fits this. And then even CEOs submit their resume and it never gets picked up. And like these are the people gatekeeping jobs. And it's definitely affecting the entertainment business. So nobody even gets in the booty hole P. Diddy club unless they can, fit all the crazy requirements that have nothing to do with being good. Nothing to do. All images, all AI images all over the place. Yeah, I really do not like AI's look. I just don't like the way it looks. Some people just love to throw junk out for impressions. Yeah, and unfortunately, that can still work. I'm gonna try to do better than that. But Z all talked to himself in the hole. Z just hasn't had the chance yet. You're probably right, but I'll give Z some credit. Z gets a little bit too much blame. I think I've talked about that. Z gets blame, and I think we got a lot of blame too, the millennials. It's like we didn't control this shit. It wasn't our job. It wasn't my idea to have a crash in 2008. Generation out that convo. Y'all not old enough to blame. Z won't be the savior. There is no savior. Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior. No generation is gonna save it. And think about this: the alpha. When you're doing mass programming, you have an alpha, then you have a beta. What's after that is the release. So this is all for Gen C. Gen C is the generation. That's the social credit generation. Because alpha's already alive and they're already out and about. My little nephews and shit, they're alpha. And so you got to do the alpha, then you got to do the beta, then you got to do the release. So when the kids that come along with my nephews are my age, that's the release. Their kids are going to be the release, right? The release generation. I'm calling it the release generation. I don't know what to call it. But the installed generation, where all their program will be completely installed. And there's no way around it. All the generations deserve their share of blame, but there's no way around it. Because at the end of the day, we've done too good of a job for falling for every trap, falling for every bit of divisiveness, and we have not done a good enough job actually resisting the corporate government what's what I'm trying to say, the monarchy / oligarchy that has existed for the past 100 years. We just kind of ran with it. Hey, honey badger. I remember when that honey badger shit started. Honey badgers don't take no shit. Shout out to the honey badgers. But yeah, and there probably is a mass casualty event in the world coming. I mean, think about if the coup really was what they wanted it to be. It'd been scary. It was scary at the jump. Imagine they do something like that again, but really with some stopping power, and people really start dropping. It's gonna be a problem. It's going to be a problem. So howdy, Tom Jensen. Shout out to Utah. Shout out to the honey badgers. Shout out to the gun named the honey badger. People are spreading more awareness. That's true. But we still are conditioned to get everything from the corporation. I'm not saying this as some enlightened off the grid. I do everything. I'm the same way. I'm the same way. We just get it. We just to go back to sinners. We let the devil in our house. We let the devil on this platform. Lord knows I doom scroll just like everybody else, probably worse than everybody else. So I wish I could talk to y'all some high horse. I can't. We all are a part of this fucking system. We all unfortunately pay taxes. Taxation is theft. We don't get involved. Not that means anything. I think, shout out to, rest in peace to William Cooper. He used to think that knowledge, that if everybody knew how corrupt the government was and how satanic and evil these people were, it would do something. Well, a lot of that knowledge is out. There's hundreds of millions of people who know that, but there's fear. You know what I mean? He's dead. A lot of these motherfuckers who talk shit are dead. Isaac Cappy's dead. You know what I'm saying? So knowledge wasn't it. It wasn't just, if everybody knows that the system is corrupt, maybe somebody will do something. No, we're scared that we'll get our head knocked off. It's a joke anytime you talk about something positive. Will they still have horrible rancheros? Who knows? Maybe. If they need to placate us. X grew up hard, split into two entities, raging liberals and raging repubs. There's no doubt that happened. Millennials from the left side slid one way too far and the right did nothing. I'd agree with that as far as the political stuff. There definitely is that raging liberal, raging Republican Generation X. Then the millennial right did nothing and the millennial left went crazy. Chow always disagrees with you because you're more laid back, don't care about conspiracies. But even the most people in the world know when it's too far. I mean, I kind of agree with you. If you look at some of the health stuff. Shout out to RFK. Listen, I am not an Orange Man guy. I've had my criticisms. I'm not necessarily in favor of a lot of budget cut stuff. Some of it I am. It's cutting. What was it? It was some Doge cut some bullshit that was complete bullshit. I'm like, okay, that's good. But then again, I'm not a big fan of Elon Musk. All that aside, I see something about all that aside. I'm trying to say, I saw something about them taking chemicals out of the food. Finally, you're about 50 fucking years too late to take some of these dyes and some of this bullshit out of the food. You know what I mean? It shows the powers to be like, okay, we're poisoning them to the point where there's not going to be nothing left. I think they have realized that they overstepped their Depop problem. I think that's why they got rid of, a lot of y'all, when they got rid of abortion or they overturned Roe v. Wade, y'all said it was just a distraction, which I'm not saying it wasn't. But I definitely think the plan was like, hey, we are not going to replace ourselves. We got to at least force some of these thoughts to keep babies, because otherwise we're not going to have a generation. That generation installed doesn't happen because it just won't be born. And so I definitely think there's definitely a fear that they've overstepped some of the evilness. And there is every now and again you do see some stuff get rolled back. It's like, okay, we can't run if everybody's 500 pounds and it's Wall-E, we can't do anything. So there's definitely some of that. Family's a prime example. Sister, super soft leftist. Kid grew up soft, hard right, decided against having kids because you shit was going to hit the fan. Fair enough. I never got into until 2020, I never cared about politics like that. I never really I did start to become a conspiracy theorist the past 5 or 6 years before that, but I didn't really give it. Man, part of that kind of kept me even out of politics more. Like, it doesn't matter who wins; they're all puppets. Which I've come back around to believing again. But I didn't. 2020 got, and there's still that reverb. Shout out to Retro Richard. Like, it's not 2020 anymore, man. Golly, a lot of people really still had that political reverb. That was a mistake. They made everything political, and life is not political, man. Politics are wrestling for old people anyway. Pro wrestling for old people anyway. Still don't care about politics. Your life is the same, right? Everyone gets busy. Well, it's too late now. Retro Richard Newbound just talked about not having kids. I don't think I'm having kids. It's up to the youth. I think Fizz, hopefully he's still in the chat. Richard, y'all the young ones amongst us. If y'all can find good women to be wives, be good husbands, man. You know what I mean? Have good children. That's what society needs. Yeah. That's a big problem. That's a lack of fatherhood. But you're right. The participation in war, 0 punishment, 0 accountability, 14 running the street with guns. Yeah, that's a lack of fatherhood, and I don't see that. I don't see how your life is unfortunately the same as 2020. Hey, you care about the short. Don't look at the short as a failure. And like I said, it's hard to market. Maybe see if ChatGPT or something else can help you market things for free. And keep trying. Don't give up, man. That's all I can tell you. I'm not saying it's gonna be easy. I'm not saying that you're gonna figure it out tomorrow. You might not, but don't give up. And don't look at what you've done as nothing, because it's still bad. I can't make a shortened blender. You know what I'm saying? I don't think most of the chat. I think most people can't. And if you can, that means you got a skill. So working your ass out since 15 ain't different. Living better at now as a young adult than a kid. There you go. That's positive. Not everybody's doing worse. Look, we talked about entertainment. That's definitely doing worse. Not everybody's doing bad. But yeah, there's a lack of fatherhood. Being a kid does suck. I wouldn't want to go through it. There's a lack of fatherhood, and I don't know how do you change it, because these girls are getting pregnant, bro. They're getting pregnant before they hit 22. That's white, black, Hispanic, whatever. That's just, they're getting pregnant quick. They're getting pregnant before the average man has his shit together enough to even be a husband. You used to, back in the day, you might have a couple get married at 19 and 21 or some shit. They get married and the guy goes into the plant and he can take care of the fucking whole household. Maybe the wife has a little, part-time job. She's a cashier. The husband working at the plant, wife's a cashier at Kroger. And they was good. You know what I mean? It was struggle. They ain't in the mansion, but they could pay their bills, take care of their family. That can't happen anymore. And so if these girls are already pregnant before guys even got their dick, before their balls even drop, if the girl is already going to be pregnant with a kid out by 22, 23, how the fuck do you stop single motherhood? If you go further even back, like Fizz is talking about, go back to the 1800s, motherfuckers was married off by 16. Motherfuckers was married off by 16 back then. And Retro Rich says his mom had her first child at 16. But as being a kid is always suck. For $32, 2 packs of smokes. Right, kids are so dumb. They work the land. If you go back then, yeah, you go back to 1800s, motherfuckers still had to farm and do all their own agriculture and do all their own shit and do all the working on the farm. That's why motherfuckers have 10, 15 kids. You basically, that was hiring. So y'all can keep the farm running and make just enough to stay afloat and then pass the farm down. And they did that until the Industrial Revolution hit. And yeah, the further back, the earlier they go. Yeah, for that medieval times, kids are married off at the start of puberty. Yeah, the further back you go, the crazier it gets. That's actually wild when you think about it. It just shows you how times have changed. But yeah, back then they basically expected you to be an adult by the age of puberty. You had to be treated like an adult. And now it's the opposite. They don't think you're an adult till you like 30. It's like, well, that's a long time. It's almost half your life. Everyone needs a family of 12 and train them up to be survivalists. You do need, you're supposed to have a family. That's the structure that works for everyone involved. You know what I mean? Is having a family if you can do it. But to Newbomb's earlier point, the shit has hit the fan. I can't see myself having a family. And I don't think it would even be morally correct for me to bring kids into this world. Not knowing what I know. I'm not telling y'all what to do. But I don't think I can provide the life that a kid deserves. And I think it's a difficult task to do so. And it's never been more difficult in many ways. And then there's no guarantee that, And I know, red pill shit, but it's the truth. It's just no guarantee I'll be allowed to even stay in a kid's life. You never know how the woman may feel after, this isn't working out. I don't really want to be with you. I don't really want you to be around, this, that, and the third. And it happens enough. If women ain't becoming single mothers for having kids too young, they intentionally become single mothers by divorcing their husbands. And I'm not saying that every woman who divorced her husband is in the wrong or that every relationship should just stay on, even though marriage is supposed to be from death to us part. It's supposed to be a vow. So I definitely think people should be serious when they get married. But the truth is, most women leave marriages. That's just statistically true. And regardless of the reason, that's just what's happening. And yeah, Travis motherfucking Hunter just got married. Good luck and God bless him and his wife. Whew, I couldn't do it. I could not do it. Not with her. But that's what he wants to do. He's a grown man. Good luck, brother. You guys can Google Travis Hunter's girlfriend and some of the stories she's told and some of the information out there. We've talked about it. And you guys can assess for yourself if she's the best option to be married. But that's what he wanted. And at the end of the day, he's the man. He is the man. First man to get married with his girl best friend. Part of me also wonders if he's into guys or into something weird. Because I just don't see how can you go. This was the big story that really made people question this. I can't believe he seems awkward, but he doesn't seem retarded. So how can you go to a party with your girlfriend, let your girlfriend go outside, go to the party and just sit outside? That's what I meant to say. Sit outside while your girlfriend's in the party and not think that something may happen. I don't see somebody being that stupid. And hey, Cinch and Dildo, appreciate you being here, the oppressive Cinch and Dildo. We're just talking about how the entertainment industry sucks, amongst other things. There's the rubber wobble monster. But I appreciate Cinch being here. Appreciate you all being here. Late night stream, just impromptu. I meant to stream the other day. A lot of times, by the time I really got time to stream, it's super late. And I just haven't been. I'm sure little Travis Hunter's on the way. That's his business, man. That's his business. He wants to. Some people want to get married so bad, they're not going to let reality stop them. So he probably wants to. A lot of people come from big families, want to have a family. They find a girl that they think love them. It don't matter if everybody on earth know that she don't love them. It don't matter if everybody else knows she a gold digger. It doesn't matter. That's what he think. So that's his business. Hey, I hope he prove us wrong. Fuck. I don't want, more people getting divorced, more kids born in unhappy marriages, more kids without fathers. That's the last thing we fucking need, man. Last thing we need. We need marriages and kids and couples and families. Part of why, society is the way it is because we're so easy to atomize. We're not as connected. Even some shit today talking about me. Granted, I did have to work, but I always think part of it is just me being single is weird. But the neighbors next door across the street are really cool, and they had a graduation party for their one of their sons, and the other son was coming home, and so it was kind of a cool little party thing. I know them, but I'm not super cool. They invited me over. Now, really, they just texted to make sure they could use my fucking use my driveway, which I was cool with. But it was like they invited me over. If I had a family of a similar age, I would, let's go over. You know what I mean? Oh, sheesh, don't ask Tyreek Hill anything. Don't ask Tyreek Hill anything about fatherhood. Travis, they both in Florida too, because she's in Jacksonville. Yeah, Travis, I'm sure you're watching this right now, Travis. You're one of the 5 people watching this. Yeah, don't listen to Tyreek Hill, anything he says. Jesus Christ, what's he got, like 10 kids? Like literally 10 kids? Silk Vag will do that to a man, yeah. And they just, And I think in the case of Travis Hunter, he's probably a young dude. He does have an awkward looking face. My guess is he didn't do too well with the ladies until he became a star athlete. That's my guess. And as a result, he probably does, jumped at the first little moist hole he can get himself into. And, put a ring on it. And that's where he is. And technically, we're in an ideal society. You are, as how it's supposed to go, but not like that. 12 kids. Whoo! I knew it was close to double digits. 6 women, maybe more women. That's crazy. Have a friend that's one of 12 kids. 12 kids. 6 women. That's crazy. Well, yeah, I know Utah. that Borbier all have 10, 11 kids. One dude has 100 kids? Oh, man. Oh, and that sounds familiar. Who is? Oh, man. I gotta Google. 100 kids is crazy. Jesus. Googling it is a mom of 22 who dreams of having 100 kids. What the fuck? This is crazy. The Battle M? Corny motherfucker that Battle M. Trying to think of people. Benzino? You can't do that. Gene Pool turns to liquid sludge after too many. That's pretty crazy, yeah. When they say everybody black Israelites, oh my God. Oh man. Battle M. I'm like, I'm lost. Once you say his name, I'm like, oh shit, but I cannot think. I don't know. I'm just hoping you figure it out. Because I can't think. I'm trying to Google Black Israelite Eminem, and I can't think of it. I don't see anything. Oh, you talking about Nick Cannon? He's got I don't think he got 100, but he's got 15. It's still crazy. Is he a Black Israelite? Oh, he did go through a Black Israelite phase a few years ago. You're right. I think you are talking about Nick Cannon. You're talking about Nick Cannon. He has 12 kids, at least according to Google. He did go through. Yeah, he sure did go through a black. I'm like, Black Israelite. That threw me off. Nick Cannon used to be a Nickelodeon kid back in the day. So I'm old enough to remember when he was a Nickelodeon kid. So that's what I think of him as still, even though he's, become a whatever the fuck. He did. I'm like, Black Israelite threw me off, but you're right. He did become a Black Israelite a few years ago. He sure did. I don't know if he still is, but he definitely rode that wave. I'm like, what? Yes, he has 12 kids. Yeah. That threw me off for a little bit. Yeah, he sure did ride that way. He was doing I don't know what you call the Vlad verse, because there's DJ Vlad, and now you have like a trillion DJ Vlads. There's a couple of them based out of Houston, the Real Life. And, all these people, and they just interview people. They all interview the same people. They'll interview a Nick Cannon, a Charleston White, a Whack 100. Just that Vlad style podcast verse. And he went through that little wave, that Vlad style, all those Vlad style podcasts. The Jaguar White, right, get on it. So he is. Oh wow, yeah. I guess he's really into it now. He a Pan-Africanist, has a podcast with Dr. Umar. I didn't know that. That's crazy. Dr. Umar, father of the fucking year, Dr. Umar. What he had 3 kids that we know about that he don't take care of. At least he keeping it single digits, I guess. Yeah, that threw me for a loop, but you're right. Like, Nick Cannon was on Nickelodeon. He had his own show. Obviously, he ended up with Wild 'N Out, which is probably the biggest thing he did. Nick Cannon, he's medium complex. He's light-skinned ones. I'm not, listen, as a light-skinned one, I'm not taking that one. He's medium complexion. But, yeah, man. Yeah, I forgot all about him. He sure did pan that. I didn't know he went this far with the Umar. But yeah, it's funny. Wasn't he on one of those talent shows for the longest? Personality is light skin. I guess fair enough. Whatever that was, that supposed to mean? Fucking big. I had time you out for that shit. But I appreciate you being here. There's only 5 people here, so I can't do it. You survive based upon numbers. But yeah, I didn't know he went that far. He did a podcast with Umar. Umar can be funny. I'm not saying Umar's never said anything interesting. Every now and again, he'll have an interesting thing, but he is a fucking farce. That school that's never going to get built. It's just the last thing people need. In this day and age, people need to try to survival instincts and improving themselves and basic self-esteem, if we could do it. All this other shit, a lot of this shit's a distraction, man. A lot of the ethno-political shit that everybody want to stir up. The media can't wait to stir some shit up. That shit's just bullshit and distraction, man. Bullshit and distraction. And, I mean, it's a surprise going back to the main topic that entertainment sucks as much as it does. That they're able to distract us from any fucking thing. Because, I mean, we are in a... I think that's part of why celebrity culture that has gotten so much bigger. Like, celebrity gossip and tabloids have always been a thing, right? So it's not like it's new. But now it's like huge. And I think part of it, there's no entertainment. That's become the entertainment, gossip, celebrity gossip. It kind of happened with reality TV shows, but now I think it's taken over where people don't expect to get an entertaining TV show when they put it on, or entertaining movie, or video game, or album. Shit, look at the Playboy Cardi guy, right? Everyone, he hasn't dropped it forever, then he drops, everyone hates the album, and it's like, okay, it's the same. He was doing the same shit for damn near 10 years. He drops every 3 or 4, and there's 30 songs of him doing the same shit. And some of them are bangers and some of them aren't, but like nothing's changed. But that's just what it is. He's funny. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. He's funny, and YouTube Shorts form. The memes with him are funny, but yeah, he is mind numbing and long form. And if you ever, he's also one of those people who's not really that good at talking long form. I remember this is when me and Matt were still doing stuff on a regular basis, which, obviously I just did something with Matt. Was it Monday? I think it was Monday or the week before for his birthday. Happy birthday, Matt. I think his birthday was actually on Thursday. But we had something. We were doing Andrew Tate. We were covering him for some reason. And I had only, at that point, I didn't know about him actually being a sex trafficker. I didn't know who he was. It's just a guy I see in shorts. And you see Andrew Tate shorts, you think, he's goofy, he's funny, whatever. But he sometimes have something clever to say. But when you actually watch that show that he did with his brother, I don't know if he still does it. I think he does. And you actually watch 10 minutes of it, I bullshit you not. Every streamer like in this community is better than him. Every single one. Zax, and anyone. Zax, AJ, Matt, obviously, Low Spec, Retro Richard, all of them. Everyone. Everyone's better than Andrew Tate actually streaming. He's terrible to stream. But if you got an editor and you just cut him up in clips, he can take over the internet. But just long form streaming, terrible. Terrible. Every streamer you've ever seen is better than him. Every single one. People need to turn off the news and break bread with their neighbors. Yeah. Even me, which I'm so antisocial. But I like my neighbors. I do like my neighbors. I just be antisocial. I think he did get some shit for that Tate stream. Yeah. Last card he should have been. Yeah, it wasn't like 30 tracks. And I don't understand that. I do understand it to an extent, but I don't. The idea behind having 30 tracks album is, especially these major label artists who know, especially guys who like Cardi, who have that rabid fan base, they know that somebody's going to listen to all 30 of them. That's why, you had 2-part albums, all these, massive 20-plus track albums. That's the idea. And plus, there's no limit anymore. You know what I mean? Though there's still some physical media, there's no physical limit. And thus, that's the idea. But I think it turns more people off. We'll see my way. I'm going to do shorter projects to do more of them. And my thought is that will do better. We'll see. You listen to all 30, it was a challenge. See, that's the thing. At least you got all 30. That's 30. Even if you don't listen to it again, he got 30 views off of you. The Tate stands came. Yeah, the Tate. We covered. Those are some weird fucking people. Remember the one guy would give his daughter up to Tate, even though he know his system is a scam? Whew, there's some weirdos in that Tate space. They are some weird motherfuckers, bro. And I know some people are bots and whatever, but there's a lot of people are worshiping motherfuckers they see on these screens. There is no more entertainment to be a hero. You know what I mean? Your heroes are all whiny and with face paint, or gay, or transgender, or whatever. In fiction, you ain't get a video game. You ain't getting shit. So if you see a streamer that gets pushed to you, now all of a sudden, you 14 and hopeless. You don't have a father. Every fucking authority figure is a bitchy female that hates you. And then Andrew Tate comes on your screen. He looks like fucking the Dalai Lama. He looks like the words sound like manna from heaven. Because all you know is you got your dyke they them teacher trying to put you in a dress. Maybe you work a little shitty job and got all the women bossing at home, no father figure, and all of a sudden you got this muscled up steroid / TRT dude doing kung fu, cracking jokes, expensive watches that he rents, Bugattis that he rent, and a lifestyle, and all of a sudden he sounds like he's the one, he knows what he's talking about. And then he'll have a short where he says something that's legitimate or that you can definitely agree with, right? He said, you're the only one that can fix this, you're the only one that can fuck it up. I mean, that's true. So that's what they're very weird, pathetic Tate space. Kill guy, you end up following mediocre men. Yeah, that's another thing. Doing kung fu badly. You're right. And the whole kickboxing things will work. Apparently, a lot of those fights were either fixed fights or didn't happen, and So he's not even as good of a fighter as he was arguing to. Because I remember wanting to see him fight Logan Paul. Logan Paul would kill that man. Or Jake Paul. Both of them would kill that man. May not be written. Yeah, it's true. He may not be written anymore. So I think he was written some of it even still. Or he had a relationship with there was like a luxury car rental place around him that he had like a relationship with. So some of that might not have been written, but some of it is. Yeah, mostly unranked fights, and some of them were basically just he is one thing he's talked about that is true is he is connected to the mob over there, and it was through fighting. He was a guy that they could fix a fight with back in the day, back in the 2010s and 2000s, and then when they wanted to get in the casino business, they let him do it. When they wanted to get into camp stuff, they let him be a part of the little stuff like that. But he said himself that he was getting underage girls. If I could find the tape, I put it in some of these videos I did. So I mean, I don't. That's the worst part. The tape was all him talking, all him saying all the stuff. He indicts himself. He did order a rim rack. It's $2 million minimum. Yeah, I mean, and then with the that some of that stuff he was selling, I'm sure the money is a little bit has probably gotten came up. He's probably doing a little better. So you're right. Probably everything ain't renting no more. Because between the sex trafficking, between the casino stuff, like I said, he's doing with the Romanian mob, and then he's doing all those different courses that he sells, and all those people are sold the taint space. The people who worship him, I mean, those people are paying $60, $70, $100, paying whatever he want to be in those little courses or in those little groups. So he probably is doing a lot better. He ain't got to rent the Bugatti no more. Yeah, most of his money came from gambling, and then and he's still doing the cam girls and the OnlyFans. He's still managing OnlyFans models now. Well, at least his brother is. And then those girls with him, the assistants, those were the real pimps. Those were the ones really disciplining the girls, finding the girls. It was it Georgina or whatever? Those was the co-pimps, the assistant pimps. But yeah, most of it came from the gambling in Romania. Like I said, he got in. He was a guy, and I say everything, alleged, because he might have enough power to send lawyers at people. So I say everything I say is alleged, even though I think a lot of it is confirmed through either stuff that he's talked about or through some of the files. But like I said, he's a guy that they was able to fix fights through, fix kickboxing fights. The mob was. So they when they wanted to do something with casinos, they let him work with that. They let him work with the cam girls. And then he built up his little profile. Like the charges against him are completely legitimate. I don't know if he's going to get prosecuted, but they're legitimate. How come we can't stay in jail? Because he's also, like I say, he good with the mob. He's got powerful friends out there. A lot of the money does come from is gambling and cam girls. And now you. Now you are the news source. And the trafficking, sex trafficking. So it's still a smaller country. Money still talks. The one thing he's been very successful at is making those charges seem drummed up. That's why that's why he's still able to get as big of a personality like Piers Morgan to interview him. Big personalities like the BBC to interview him, and nobody brings up, hey, you said in this interview from such and such that this girl that you were dating in the part of your trafficking thing was 15 when you met her. What's up with that? No one's asked him about that. It's on record of him saying this. No one's asked him about it. Piers Morgan didn't ask. That whole Candace Owens didn't ask. BBC even, who's supposed to hate him. He's supposed to be the most misogynistic man on the internet, and they didn't ask him about an underage girl that he admitted to being around. That's when you know something up, because that's supposed to be somebody they oppose. Not if he controlled opposition. They ain't gonna they'll talk about some bullshit, But when there's something real to talk about, they ain't about to say nothing to him. Because he's still MI6/CIA operative that's been way more successful than I think they thought. I don't think they even thought that Andrew Tate was going to be what he ended up becoming. Now, I don't know if he still got that same, because I don't really see it. I mean, you see his clips, but there was a point where he just took over the internet in like 2023, 2022, whatever. And money talks, bullshit walks. Unfortunately, that's money. That clout is a drug. And again, if he's an operative, maybe that was the plan. If he supposedly had people, his people was in the CIA and military industrial complex. But yeah, I would have never chased clout. He was good doing what he was doing. Nobody had to know who he was. There's thousands of people all over the world who deal with the underworld and got a good gig going, got the money going, and they don't have to really, you don't know who they are. And most of them would like to keep it that way. But, we are in a showy generation. So he decided to be an internet star, and it worked. It worked. We'll see what happened with his case. I hope justice is served, but I just don't feel like it is. It's going to be. In the same way, Romanian government after him because he created too much. He talked too much. That's his biggest thing. He's just such a egotist. He talked too much. A lot of what I just said, he said. Talking about, like, you can't be dealing with mobsters and dealing with, paid off government officials and then tell everybody you're doing that shit. He worse than 6ix9ine and Young Thug snitching on himself. But both of them came home too. So if he didn't snitch on himself, they probably would have let him. You're right. The government probably wouldn't even went after him if he wasn't snitching on himself all the damn time, making him look crazy. They had to go after him just to stop him from saying shit. And he don't really talk about Romania no more. So it kind of worked on some level to at least get him to shut up. Like, don't just shit on my country and make it. Don't let everybody know how this shit is, bro. What the fuck? Bro, Romania is so corrupt. Yeah, exactly. I can do whatever I want. I can, speed, just pay off the thing. I can do all this, and I'm good with the mob, and we got casinos, and we got hoes, and we got, this girl's 15. Like, damn, you're just snitching everything. Shit, he'll be the easiest RICO case in history, bro. Like, all I gotta do, you can play my episode talking about him, and that's enough evidence to convict. I bullshit you not. Or the episode I was looking at, was it something skeptic? I can't remember the channel. If I look for it, I could probably find it again. But man, the videos he did, it's enough of his own testimony to convict him, to get an easy conviction. Easy money conviction. So, but going back to the core of this issue, there's nothing in the title, but I think the core is just, where we are with art and entertainment, which is kind of, on some level that was what started this channel, right? And now I'm trying to enter the phase where we're contributing to the conversation and we're making art. And we're not just me, I'm not just saying we like on some Venom shit, but like us as everybody involved with the channel that's a creative. Like, I believe in y'all. And somebody's got to take this shit over because the entertainment business is not good enough to keep the masses entertained. Like, it just isn't. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's not enough. We're not getting enough creative content. We're not getting enough content in general. And they're not even trying. We're not getting good movies. We're not getting good video games. We're not getting good music. We're not getting, apparently Sabrina Carpenter's the biggest star on earth. I mean, does she really feel like it? No, but you can market to a niche. Maybe it's a big niche. I'm sure she has like millions and millions of views and shit, but it's just like there's definitely no universal stars. The days of Michael Jacksons and shit like that is done. But I mean, we don't even, like, I couldn't tell you who the biggest star in music is. Maybe it is Sabrina Carpenter right now or Billie Eilish. I don't know. I couldn't tell you who the biggest star of music is. I couldn't tell you what's the biggest album of the last 2 years or last year. I couldn't tell you what the biggest movie last 2-3 years is. Is it Sinners? Maybe. I don't know. Is it Deadpool or something? I don't know. Just entertain. There are a lot of shows. Hell, me and my brother was watching that Love, Death, and Robots. That, which is a good show. It's an anthology show. But it was really, yes. We watched the latest season that came out like a few weeks or a few months ago. Whatever. It came out this year. Really good. Really, really good. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe I can fly. We just have no idea what Zoomers like. Well, that's the thing. I don't think they've targeted Zoomers correctly. So for usual, like, oh yeah, they did have a censored dildo, which was actually a funny clip. Funny. That's some funny observations on him. It was pretty funny. That whole different anthology, they had a lot of cool stuff. Now, I will say with this one, not everything was as science fiction based, though most of it still was, but there were some non-science fiction episodes mixed in. But they, like, honestly, I don't think they targeted us correctly, but they were able to still mold us because you just had those mainstream things. Yes, we were shaped by the internet, but the internet was a lot more shapeable. Now everybody is so atomized, so scattered. It's a little hard to get everybody at once. That was the tail end of everybody at once still doing things with the millennials. You point out the censored dildo? Yeah, they actually did have a censored dildo in it, and it was pretty entertaining. You get a cut from the lawsuit. There you go. I mean, you've traded under the name. You've been censored dildo longer than that existed, so certainly you got a case. You got a case, but that was actually pretty good. But I mean, I don't know when the next season coming out. Probably in 2 years, 3 years, because everything takes 5 years to make. Video didn't do too well, but I still made it about which Take-Two option do you prefer? Do you prefer yearly getting scammed or getting scammed every 20 years? Between NBA 2K or a GTA release schedule, they both suck. They both end up with bad games. Good for the corporation, bad for the consumer. Started off this show talking about famed sex offender Harvey Weinstein, who, despite his trappings and failings and his being just a normal exec in Hollywood like everybody else, but getting all the blame. But despite all that, it wasn't about that. It was about him and Tarantino having issues over Reservoir Dogs, the scene of Michael Madsen torturing a guy, and that Tarantino fought and he kept that scene in, even though in test screenings and screenings at festivals, people walked out during that scene. They absolutely had feedback that most people wouldn't like that scene. It would have been nothing to just be a corpo and say, we don't give a fuck, we're cutting that scene. But they didn't cut that scene. That scene gives that movie personality, which it already has because it's Tarantino, and I like the scene. It's fucking crazy. But that's not what happens to the new age of corpos. Don't give a fuck about artistry at all. And those micro decisions, when tallied up 1,000,000 times over in all of these different avenues, whether we're talking a video game, whether we're talking a TV show, a movie, or any corporate piece of art entertainment, when the decision making is constantly what's going to make the most money, we don't need these little things that add authenticity, add that je ne sais quoi, if you will, oui, magnifique. But add those elements of a piece of art, piece of work that just give it character that you can't quantify because it didn't do well with test audiences. Not giving creativity a chance to be creative. Not giving creatives a chance to be creative. Not even hiring from the best creators, hiring from the most popular. And that's before we get into all the agenda and cultural Marxism. We're just talking about the framework of this shit. And that's also before we get into all the franchises as we talked about. It's just like, well, how are we going to get good entertainment ever fucking again. Like, how will it fucking happen? Exactly. He fucks some bangers too. He didn't give a fuck with his weird. Apparently, doesn't he have like a damaged scrotum or some shit? But sheesh, somebody, that was a meme joking about like at least women were decent looking because they had a picture of Rachel Ziegler and that fucking Last of Us chick. Whoo! And I mean, a lot of the Hollywood stars could be a little overrated, but those hoes look hit, bro. Holy smokes! Dawson Dead was never gonna be a blockbuster. It would have made no difference. Looking back at it, you could say that it was always just going to be a cult movie. And I mean, he was successful enough, obviously, to launch Tarantino's career as a director. But you know, making that decision, he could have. I think nowadays that scene is getting cut out 10 times out of 10. They ask what's going to make the money, and the answer they come up with is put a chicken and make it lame and gay. Yeah. You moved from woke, you still left with a corporal mediocrity. And that's where we are now. I don't think we're still dealing with wokeness as the flavor of the month. That's not the big thing. I mean, yeah, you're still dealing with it. There's still some backlash and reverbs of 2020. But now it's just mediocrity. I mean, I like Sinners, but Sinners ain't a game changer. We used to have 15 movies as good as Sinners every year. That's true. You might be right that the scene in a vacuum doesn't matter, but I think it does give the movie character. And when you constantly make those decisions to take out that stuff, at the end of the day, it's just a scene, right? If it, like you said, if it just ended up on an extended Blu-ray release, the co-stars, you're probably right. But I mean, I think with something creative, it's those little things, those death by 1,000 paper cuts. That individual scene ain't the end of the world. But if you had every single thing like that being nitpicked, and the corporation always wins, which they do now, because no one gets the director or anyone any weight, right? That's when you end up with an issue. All pieces matter, cuz all the pieces matter. But you're not wrong that just if that scene wasn't the end of the world, it could have gone without it. And like watching the clip I was watching, even Tarantino admitted he was objectively correct that people didn't like that scene, but he still just wanted to keep it in because he felt that it was just his little charm. It's not like cutting the whole beginning of Full Metal Jacket release. Fair enough. Fair enough. It's one of the most memorable scenes. And I think that set the pace for other crazy scenes and people just giving Tarantino whatever he wants, let him do what he wants. Warner Brothers want to even release movies that do well with the test audiences, even if the brand isn't seen as relevant. I mean, can Warner Brothers trust those test audiences? I'll never forget standing ovation at Superman versus Batman, or won't even release movies that do well with the test audiences. Because they didn't. They scrapped what was it, Acme versus Coyote, or Coyote versus Acme, which did that. I think we talked about. I might have talked about with you, Fizz, on one of these streams. Didn't they just do something with that? Like they sold it off to somebody else. That movie. At this point, you can't play Still as Will without people bringing up that movie. Yeah. Test audiences are retarded. I don't think test audiences, because a lot of them, they sold it off, yeah. So, but Superman versus Batman, the test audiences gave it a standing ovation. I'll never forget that. I never saw the director's cut. I've heard it's better. And shit, Superman versus Batman might still be better than what we get in a few months. But that obviously did not go that well by any stretch of anyone's imagination. Here I am stuck in the middle with you. Test audiences equal a jury of your peers. Well, they're the peers in the entertainment industry. We know they all know what they talk about. But I mean, we've heard of movies that do bad with test audiences, do great with the people. Test audiences really, I mean, I get it, but I don't. Because they're making, when a movie comes out, now we're expecting, it's almost like test audiences are not a part of the movie making process. Especially a big budget Disney movie. They are expecting to reshoot the movie. They're going to make a movie. They're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to make a movie. They're going to show it to test audiences. They're going to reshoot the fucking movie. Then they're going to show the test audiences, reshoot the fucking movie again. And then they're packaging it together. And that's why these budgets are blown. That's why they can't be making their money back. Because this is what I just said has happened to a bunch of movies. It used to be, I think one of the first real ones was The Last Jedi, or one of that sequel tragedy. One of those movies was one of the first of the recent era. I mean, you always have reshoots, but this era of we're going to have constantly go back to the test audiences, reshoot, go back to the test audience, reshoot. This multiple time shit, that wasn't a thing until very recently. And I think either the second or third one. I can't think of the third one because it escapes me. Used to call it the Farce of Weekends, the Ash Jedi, the Fall of Skywalker. The Fall of Skywalker, or the Rise of Palpatine, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, one of those movies was one of the first ones where it went to the test audience, reshoot, went to the test audience, reshoot. And now that's how a lot of movies are getting made. Especially out in Disney World. The rise of dog shit, yeah. And I mean, that's another thing. We go through all the list of things. The budget's got to come down, especially for movies. Justice League was also like that with a lot of reshoots. Yeah, well, yeah. They reshot it for the Snyder Cut. They reshot a bunch of stuff. That one, they literally released it. It did it. I mean, they might have did the reshoot thing I'm talking about too with test audiences before for the first version, and then reshot it again for the Plandemic for the director's cut, the Snyder Cut. Farscape is free on YouTube. Fun having to rewatch the weirdness. Maybe that's part of it. I gotta catch up with old stuff. I haven't seen every TV show that ever existed. I haven't seen every movie that's ever existed. I haven't listened to every album. So that's one thing we can do as consumers is always go back. Joss Whedon came out after most of Snyder's cut. I see. Yeah, because that's what happened initially. Zack Snyder had shot it, and then he had to lead the movie, and then Joss Whedon came in, and they put them both together. Had to watch the cut over 5 days, scrapping most. Yeah, he scrapped a lot of it. I liked the Snyder cut when they came out with it on HBO Max, which, by the way, that's another dumb thing. They went from HBO Max to Max, back to HBO Max. Like, what are they doing? But I liked it, but I like you have not touched it since. And I also did not watch it all in one sitting. I watched it over a few days. You said you watched it over 5 days, haven't touched it since. I guess I pretty much did the same thing, but I was positive on it. But I'm not a big Snyder guy. But yeah, these budgets got to come down. You're not going to be able to make a bunch of movies if you got to spend $200 million every movie. And I know a lot of this. There's shady stuff. We were just talking about the mob. There's shady stuff going on with some of this money. Can't watch Cape shit anymore. I'm done with it. A lot of people are. I think there's a lot of superhero fatigue. And we got to get back to telling stories about regular humans again. We need to get back to regular action movies. I think one of the few franchises that have been pretty well received over this time has been like the John Wick franchise, right? Just because it's very straightforward action. Season 2 of Andor was a banger. I still haven't seen season 1. And Rogue One was the only thing Disney did right the whole Star Wars thing since they had it. And apparently people like Andor. Entertainment needs to get back to Westerns, baby. Baby. I mean, it was a big... We saw... It's not a Western, but it has some of the same elements. Yellowstone ended up being a hit over the past few years. So there's definitely some call for it. Don't watch shit anymore. Don't watch Star Wars anymore. I don't either. I haven't watched Star Wars since season 2 of The Mandalorian. As far as regularly watching it, I haven't. I mean, maybe there's some that I've seen that I can't think of, but that's the last thing I remember watching. Entertainment just needs to be better. They need to try to make good entertainment and stop trying to be so fucking corporate all the damn time. But I don't see that happening. I just don't see that happening. And I don't know how it could happen. Haven't watched this Last Jedi. Yeah, I mean, you haven't missed anything. I saw the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. They were okay. Definitely, looking back, I would say they're overhyped. Not that they're terrible, but, I mean, they were really, there was a lot of hype for those seasons. I haven't watched Ahsoka. I haven't watched what they've done in their universe. Just like I haven't been watching the Marvel universe, which is why I didn't see the Thunderbirds or Thunderbolts, Thunderbirds, because it's like I don't know what they're. I don't know who these characters are, and I don't care. I mean, I know Bucky, but the rest of them I don't know. I didn't watch Black Widow. I don't want to watch this. Never watched Star Wars. You know what? The first 6 are pretty good, especially the first 3, especially the OG 3. Those are pretty good. They're interesting. People say Andor is barely Star Wars, just a good sci-fi show. I think that the mistake that Disney made, and it was you didn't have to be in that main timeline, main storyline. You could have just made a sci-fi show in that universe, and maybe that's what they're trying to do with Andor. I know it ties into Rogue One, which obviously ties into Episode 4 for those who don't know. But it's like, man, just you have the framework. Tell another story that happened 400 years before or 400 years after. Doesn't mention Skywalker or Boba Fett or any of the characters we know, but does have some of the lore. Does have people with lightsabers and blasters and shit, and come up with their own original story in that framework, and they can't fucking do it. They can't do it to save their life. And Andor just comes off as a glorious bastard in space. That's kind of what Rogue One is. Is it glorious bastards in space? I think a lot of people like seeing grounded elements of Star Wars. I remember when Bill Burr, his character has some interesting scenes in The Mandalorian. Actually, honestly, the best episode of The Mandalorian is the Bill Burr episode in season 2, I believe, where you hear about what happened to his company or his group, and some of the shit they had to do and some of the shit that happened to them, and he's really fucked up about it. I was like, okay, that was pretty interesting. Let's make a movie about small time 3rd tier comic book characters. Well, I guess it succeeded with Guardians, and then they'll keep trying that again. I mean, shit, they're turning Superman to Guardian of the Galaxy. So, I mean, it's just keep doing something that works. Don't try to do something new. But yeah, Tom Jensen's right. Things need to be about storytelling, less about budgets in the face. We got to get back to being storytellers, and emphasizing storytelling, and telling interesting stories. I mean, shit. Even if you have to use the tried and true, I mentioned Star Wars. I mean, Harry Potter is basically Star Wars, and I know it's the hero's journey. But there's other elements, the 2 women or 2 dudes and a girl as the main team, and the certain dynamics and certain things. You know, these tropes, they work. You know what I'm saying? Haven't seen Andor, but the usual suspects that usually shit on Star Wars are full praise. I see. Problem is the characters aren't even liked by comic fans. Yeah, they're not liked by anybody at this point. I don't think even the Slacktivists liked them. They just like clapping for it because that was a way of clout. I don't even think that's an active way of clout for. I mean, I guess it still might be on Reddit and shit, but that was people were making money off of being grifty activists. That was a way of being an entertainer. I mean, shit. I think what's his name is still in the industry. What's the guy who wrote Captain America and Black Panther, Ta-Nehisi Coates? I think he's still around Hollywood somewhere. So, you had a lot of people like that who were able to break into they came from academia and gender studies and culture studies and racial studies, and they fucking around and got Hollywood writing jobs and comic book writing jobs and all sorts of shit that they had no business being near, and writing credits on shit. It's like, what the fuck? Why are you you're a gender studies grad who now writes for Star Wars? Like, what? Marvel brought back the comics, brought back the Punisher, the Red Label comic logo and all. The experiment failed. Oh yeah, that's right. They got rid of the. Oh shit! It took me a while, cause y'all remember when they not only got rid of the logo, they brought his wife back and she sold all this shit. It was just terrible. Just cut them out. It was like horrible. I couldn't believe. I don't know which one of you were telling me this. It was one of the worst emasculation principle. It was just horrible. Yeah, his Superman did get canceled, thank goodness. Yeah, activists don't really care. It's just a vessel of furthering their agenda or furthering their career. And it was working. Maybe it still works to some extent. And, I just don't follow the shit, so I don't know. Maybe that's still what's going on. Maybe but a lot of these activists literally got into these rooms, into executive jobs. They made them a samurai. Shit was a mess. Marvel hates the Punisher because they hate policemen. Yeah, the policemen use the logo. It's like, so who gives a shit? I'm not a back the blue guy. I think that's stupid to just back the government blindly. But I'm also not a, kill all police. What is this shit? I know it's defund the police, but what's some other shit? That's some kill them all. Whatever the case may be. That's fucking ridiculous. That's the moral of the story is that's fucking ridiculous. Yeah, Punisher is one of Marvel's bigger characters. I'm surprised because he's one of the most grounded characters. I mean, he's basically every action movie ever, just the character, right? Because has a revenge story, kills. He doesn't have any superpowers, doesn't have any moral thing. He's just a revenge. He's the Punisher. Oh yeah, the logo, that new logo looked crazy. Yeah, just a simple logo, such a classic logo. There's nothing wrong with the Punisher. There was no need to do all that, and I'm glad they brought him back. I mean, that was eventual. I mean, especially in comics, everybody can come back anyway, but still, from Punisher to Elephant Man, shit should have never happened. Should never happen. Hopefully, we're done with that shit. At least as the mainstream stuff. Now, granted, it's killed comics. It's killed. The woke monster did kill everything it touched. But hopefully, we're done with it, right? We're done with it being the mainstream thing. Samurai Elephant Man. What happened to the replacement Punisher? Yeah, there was a replacement Punisher, too. I don't know. They just totally fucked up that character. And they're just going to act like it hasn't happened. And again, I think John Bernthal is in that new Daredevil series that I'm also not watching. Because, I don't trust Disney. I'm not quite superheroed out, but I am superheroed out at the same time. Like, there's certain things I'll give a chance, but I am out on just, it's a superhero character? I'm going to check it out. I'm done with that. I'm not in that phase anymore. But I'm still going to go see Superman and Batman. Those characters, I'm just locked in to see it. And corpos do ruin everything they touch. But it's starting to drive us crazy. We ain't got nothing to watch. They will rebrand woke and bring it back. They probably will for a second run, but I think this wave is at least done. And shit, woke could have worked if they didn't go so hard. They just had any sense of subtlety. It could have worked easy. Series ended, I believe. Haven't seen. Well, I think the Punisher itself ended on Netflix, and then they just did Daredevil Born Again. I think he existed in this character's universe on that series. I think he was on that series, and I'm not sure if they're doing another Punisher series or season or whatever. And I'm not sure if he's just going to be a part of it. I'm not sure what's happening. You're right. They're not talented enough to be subtle. I remember Marvel Max. Red Label's like Marvel Max from years ago, 16 plus. I see. They tried to retcon Frank to always being a serial killer back when he was a kid. Oh, that's awful. Oh, you're not talking about the show, it's just the comic. Okay, I'll say. Excuse me. I apologize. So that series ended. So that Punisher series, that Red Label ended. And you haven't seen anything since then. We'll see. We'll see if they bring it back to like a full-time comic anytime soon. But that's, sheesh. They got to retcon their retcons. And yeah, just no subtlety at all. And that's where they fail. And that's why we are in this place where entertainment is so jacked up. Shout out to 24/7. I was watching him. He was talking about the Highlander stuff. Apparently that may be scrapped. The Henry Cavill Highlander. I started off talking about Mortal Kombat. The game Mortal Kombat 1 has failed in less than 2 years. They stopped the support for it, and then now they're just going to try to do Injustice again when there's no story. The Red Label is new, so the woke crap ended. Okay, well, hopefully they get back into the roots of this. When you retcon, you get a singularity. I don't know what you get a singularity, but they're gonna have to do something. They're just gonna say it was all a dream or some shit. I don't know. They gotta get rid of that shit. People would just read that's what happened. People just read manga. Manga has gotten more popular than ever. People just read manga. And people don't watch, anime. And not just anime. I know a lot of people love foreign TV in general. So people are getting their, even here in the West, people are getting their entertainment outside the West. Not just with anime and manga, but, the Korean dramas, and obviously Squid Game became, globally popular. And things like Ozark became globally popular. Instead to find ways to fund your 3D comics so it can come out faster. Hey, I wish I knew the answers. Like I said, I'm going to try to ask ChatGPT how to market my music. I'm not sure if that's the best answer, but I ain't got a fucking marketer or a budget, so I got to do something. Along with a bunch of other stuff I've seen off the internet. So good luck and Godspeed. I would say the closer, like, if you can do a 5-minute scene of what you want, it'll make it easier to get it made. A well done 5-minute version or 2-minute version of what you want. Uh, 70s and the Korean stuff. A lot of people have gotten into it. Shout out to a 70s rock fan. So good luck though. I'm the only anime and manga that you like and stuff. Not many people are talking about. I see. There's a lot. I mean, anime and manga really isn't a genre. It's like there's so much in those genres. That's like just like an anime doesn't mean much. So let's see. This is recent. Punisher's new Marvel series comes with a warning for bloody, explicit content. It's cool to see the old logo. Punisher is back from the dead on a blood revenge tour in this new Marvel series. Frank Castle is back in the public eye. Yep, John Bernthal did reprise his role as street level vigilante, pun not intended, in Daredevil Born Again. Bernthal is also starting in writing a special presentation for Disney. So there is going to be some Punisher content coming on the small screen, so to speak. As for comics, Marvel is bringing Frank Castle back from the dead and Punisher Red Band, 5-issue limited series by writer Benjamin Percy and artist Julius Ota, the current creative team on Helverine, which I have not heard of. I'm not paying attention to comics anymore. I'm not paying attention to a lot of stuff anymore. Unfortunately, each of the Punishers, Red Band, come polybag for explicit content, as Marvel promises the comic will be the most violent Punisher in history. So let's spam violence to just make up for all the shit we did. He will also return to his classic costume, of course, rated on Leash's brutal brand of justice in the underworld. And some copy. There's a cover. It looks cool. Oh shit, they got different covers. This looks like, what was that Punisher they did? I can't remember the actors. It was the second one they did. It looks kind of like the classic. That's the classic suit. So I like the covers. Is it me or is Punisher just the easiest character to get right? How can a character get easier than like John Wick? Basically, you know. Go watch Mobland. I heard Mobland was good. That's something I have heard was good. Most people care about the Gooner. Yeah, I can't. That's why I don't get in anime. Is the Gooner stuff. I've heard Mobland is good. Maybe I need to check it out. Saw a magazine where they crossed Pikachu and Punisher called the Punisher. Punisher just seems like the easiest character in the history. He's Dirty Harry. He's every protagonist. He's every action movie protagonist ever. His family's murdered. He wants revenge. He kills the bad guys. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. And we've had multiple John Wick movies, so you got plenty of stuff to pull from, to do cool stunts from, and to base stuff off of. Yeah, Max Payne is literally just the Punisher, except he's a policeman instead of a former military man, which I think he might be also former military. Max Payne. Which, you know, that movie didn't go too well. But that game, you know, the game series was still pretty popular. Classic game series. Shout out to Max Payne. Guess that bullet time dynamic, especially back in the 2000s, which was when it was really popular, that gives it a little difference. But yeah, it's the same tropey character. I mean, it's amazing how many times they've gotten that fucking character wrong. Max Payne on the train. Max Payne on the A train. But yeah, guys, I am about to get out of here. It's cool talking to y'all. I don't even really talk about nothing. I was just talking. I may be more talking about creativity and art and entertainment in general. Because I don't know. I don't think we can fix it with corporate art, right? I think we have to come up with our own art. But there's also the marketing thing. Now that I'm getting done with these, as I finish these EPs, and now it's like, okay, it's time to market and release and all that stuff. And you just realize how rigged the internet game is, how pay for play it is. It's like, well, how, if you do create something that's worthwhile, which I would like to think my stuff is, but if it's not that, the next one will be, and if it's not that, the next one will be, et cetera, how do you fund it? How do you market it? I don't know. Because there's a million people on the internet. And the girl that twerks, you know what I mean? There's somebody right now on one of those vertical streams that y'all love, which I don't do as much. I might get back to that. Like I said, I'm going out of town later next week. So I'll be gone for about a week. When I come back, you know, definitely get back to the content, streaming on a regular basis, all that, and maybe doing that because I definitely want to get the channel to grow. But there's somebody on this platform right now twerking with like 18,000 times more people watching them. You know what I'm saying? Show titties. Nobody wants to see man titties. Yeah, modern writers just want to write about how bad of a person Frank Castle is, not the people he's killing. Like, yeah, it's totally. And listen, it's okay to be conflicted on the Punisher, because he's the other extreme of a Batman. Where Batman has a no-kill rule, he's just killing everybody. And yeah, a lot of people he killed are unredeemable. Is everybody he's ever killed unredeemable, or has he just murdered a lot of people that maybe had a chance to redeem themselves? So that's something to talk about. It's a discussion piece. But yeah, I'm not showing titties. Nope. But I am getting out of here. I'm going to try to stream again tomorrow. I'm going to try to stream as much as I can before I go on vacation, especially to make up for missing streams. I appreciate you guys being here. Hopefully, hopefully I can get a album listening party questionable moral values. Yeah, it's that's a part of the character too. You're not supposed to just agree with Frank all the time. That's okay. It's okay to not agree with Frank Castle, right? It's okay to present that and make that an interesting character, but at same time, it's not just, oh, he's just bad. It's questionable. He's a tweener. He's an anti-hero. You know what I mean? And yeah, there should be some criticism, but it should also be, I understand it. They actually got it right with that in the first Daredevil, the Netflix Daredevil. They actually got it right with that. All right, I'm getting out of here. I appreciate you guys being here. If you like the video, please like the video. If you're so obliged to share and subscribe, please do that. And even if you do none of these things, thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Good night. God bless. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.